What's up? It's Mike. I got a compliment today. Lady said I had the best garden in the neighborhood, in the front yard. All those years of putting that into effort and paid off. You know, I'm thinking really hard if somehow, some way, if any of you have any ideas, anybody's paying any attention to me, of getting a wheelchair. I need a wheelchair. And I've been talking about it for years, and I never raised enough money to do it. So what I want is I'm not trying to. The government's not helping me with this. I need a wheelchair that I can, like something like a top. Not it doesn't have to be necessarily top end Pro 2 sport wheelchair, but something like it, or a used one. Something like that. Something that not your standard wheelchair for a nursing home. I'm going to try to make my last fight. I'd really like to get a wheelchair that allow me to get out there and do stuff. The standard wheelchair is not good enough to really traverse roads and bumpy sidewalks and all that kind of stuff. Who knows, maybe if we could develop enough upper strength, maybe it would give me enough strength and maybe even to, I don't know, get a job somewhere. I don't know, something local, if anybody wants me. Or just to go with my son while he's on his bike and go around town or go to a park. I do have my electric wheelchair, I guess I do, but I would really like to have to be able to have a little more independence, real independence, and develop my upper body strength. Probably these things cost like $2,000 or more, and a used one's still going to cost $800. And I've been talking for 2 years now about getting a wheelchair, and it's never happened. There's been a few people a couple of years ago that donated a few bob here and there, but there was always something that got in the way. So I have to get rid of the PayPal account because I don't have enough money to get a cell phone. I got the cell phone. I can't afford the monthly charges. You know what I mean? 50 something bucks. Verizon. So I mean, I could get the cell phone, but then that negates. I mean, the one person that helps donates. After the past 2 years and still doing it, he can get basically barely afford enough to pay for the what it would cost me to get the cell phone. So I'm using it to help pay for half the internet charges. But it would be really nice to get a wheelchair. If those are interested or know how they can help me, get a real, not a hospital or nursing home wheelchair, but as you can see, a athletic one or a sport one, something that allowed me to do stuff with my son these last year or maybe two or whatever. I don't know. Maybe if I build up strength, it won't be a last year or two. But I can't afford $2,000, so I just can't. And I can't afford $800. I can't even afford $200. That's how bad the situation is. And I'm in such a pickle, in such a bind. I mean, you can see the cost that the quick titanium all court sport vehicle. If I wanted to try to and develop upper strength and maybe play basketball court or do anything like that, and we're talking now $3,500, $400, $500. That's before taxes and shipping and everything. And then it's $2,500 for the quickie match point tennis thing. God, there's the bike. That's really cool. Something like that, because I can't use my legs really. That's too much money. I am not gonna listen. I am not going to that damn nursing home. So I'm calling all those people who are interested in helping me. There's a quickie. This only $1,300. I don't know, maybe some of you knew somebody that once had one of these wheelchairs and no longer has them. and you can find a way to get it to me. If you're interested, I'll leave my email account. If you want to know what my email is, I can type it up real fast before we get reading and all this stuff. And I have to beg. I have to ask people to help me, because at this point, I mean, no one's been listening to me. My family hasn't been listening to me. No one's been listening to me. No one wants to listen to me. Nobody. I think they've ripped me off a long time ago because of my health issues and all that. But you know what? I can say one thing. I am one hell of a fighter. That's for sure. Because you know what? All due rights. I shouldn't have a son. I shouldn't have anything. Shouldn't have a place. All the stuff I have, all the things that I've ever had, except for the little bit that anyone's ever donated via the YouTube channel. That helped pay for Corey Twin. He helped me pay for the camera. I mean, I'd love to go back out and do some camera work, but to do camera work, I'm going to have a wheelchair that I can get into the grass. You know what I'm saying? Or be somewhere where there's some open field. And using my electric wheelchair can only go so far. It's good in like malls or actually, I just had to spend $50 frickin' bucks to get new wheels for the darn thing, which I didn't have. I don't know how I'm going to get you through this month. I haven't even, the month isn't even halfway through, and I've already down to a couple $100. Yeah, there's my email account. If you're interested and you could help me out, PayPal I no longer have. I can't afford a PayPal. The problem with PayPal is you need to have a cell phone. Didn't need to have a cell phone until 2 weeks ago, to the beginning of this month. Got away with not being able to use PayPal for all these years. Now you got to have a cell phone just to get into my account. So screw that. No PayPal. I mean, I can't justify getting the PayPal if there's not enough money coming in to pay for the phone in order to get in the PayPal. So that's a double-edged sword. So I, the one guy that, and you know who you are, Jesus Love Ministries and Robbie Lowdown. It's you. You're the one that's been there for me this past year. And so, I sent an email with you. Hope you got it. He says, stop sending me money on PayPal. It's not worth it. It's like a negate. You might as well not even send me money. Because what's going to happen is I'm going to have to get a cell phone. All right? Just open up a PayPal. In which case, this is what happens. So then I pay for the cell phone, and then the money that you're sending me for the YouTube channel and the BitChute channel, and to do the work we're doing on and YouTube and BitChute, well then that's negated. We might as well not send me anything. I might as well just say screw it. So if I did leave a message. If you are interested, Robbie, I left you my address, and you can, and I could get, if there was a reasonable amount of money that would come my way to get a P.O. box. But that's it's, I'm not one of these guys that everyone loves. You know what I mean? I really go for the truth, not entertainment. And so, why? Because I'm not entertaining, and B, because I really want to know the truth. So, and it should be reversed. A, because I want to know the truth, and B, I'm not entertaining. But saying that, I've been doing this for frickin' 10 years. Actually, 11 years. I've been sick for 13 years. If it wasn't for my son, I wouldn't be doing this at all. And I pursue the truth and find out what the Bible really says, and then they'll be damned. There ain't a Christian within 100 miles that I know of that even is interested in the truth. 200 miles, 300 miles, 500 miles. All these years trying to find some kind of fellowship whilst pursuing the truth, taking seriously the whole thing, and what? What? Well, at least I know who God is. And I'm going to share with you the truth, and I'm not going to sugarcoat it just so you guys like me. Now, I could do what everybody else is doing and just read the news. I could do what a lot of other Richie, which I love, Richie Allen, but he's English and he's Irish, he's British, and they're into this spiritualism thing. So he's listen to this guy Michael G. And I almost said the rest of his name. And you listen to him talk about what the Bible says. It is the same thing. It's straight out of the playbook of Alice Bailey. It is. A distortion of this New Age nonsense, the Unity Church and all that. Not at all. We just read that Jesus said that he did not come to this world to bring peace, but a sword. His job was to finish up everything and pass judgment on who? Israel. We know this. We've just read it. You can read it over and over again. When I hear all this crap come from these New Agers and all these Christians and think, oh, Jesus is all about love. Yeah, he loves his God, he loves his Father, and he loved his people. But his people were not everybody. They were only the people that were willing to follow the truth, follow him. Who loved his Father. There was none of it was unconditional. No such thing as unconditional love. So, I mean, I understand nobody wants and nobody cares about my circumstances, and that's really not your problem. But if you are interested, help me out. And I'll bring this up over and over again for a while until maybe it sinks into somebody's head that I need some help. And if you value what I'm doing, though, but if you don't value what I'm doing, don't help me. If you're in a pickle like I am, then don't help me. It's only those people that can help me. It would be really simple. I mean, it'd be the cheapest of all solutions when it comes to the wheelchair thing. Is hey, I know somebody had one of those wheelchairs, and what do they still do? If they still do, let me know. Send it to me. I don't know, maybe we can split the cost on shipping, and I don't know how much. I don't know. Maybe I don't know how to do it. Might not even be able to help you in that because it's all broken, obviously. But I would really like to not rot in this situation without a fight. So, and here's the thing: it's the whole thing too about teach a man how to fish, right? And then he can feed himself or whatever for a lifetime. Well, I need a wheelchair so that I can do things and maybe feed myself for the rest of my lifetime. You know what I mean? And give me some dignity. Some dignity. And even God, you know what my situation is, but I know I'm not your apostles, and I'm not that important to you. I don't know. So, well, you're important to me, but I'm not that important to you. So that's okay. You know my situation for years, God. So you know what's best for me. Another day in this shithole. I'm so sick of being rotting away in the living tomb that I'm in. And it's not about being negative. I mean, I got to tell you something. Anybody else I know, I don't care. You can give the most positive thinking, this, that, and the other person, with all their books and all their wisdom and all that, and put them in my situation and see how far they would go. Most of them would have put a bolt in their head 10 years ago. I guarantee you that. It's all good. It's easy talk. And you say, oh, man, a positive thinking, that's how it changed my life. Did it? Did it? Do you really, you challenge them and you really find out what's really going on with them. You really, oh, yeah. You're just lying, aren't you? You're just another of the endless line of charlatans. See, I regardless of whether everybody helps me out, I'm still going to do this. And I've proven that over and over again, year after year after year after year after year after year after year. And I'm not going to stop doing it just because somebody. And here's the thing, I know if I stay stuck, be part of one of the groups, then guess what's going to happen? if I don't speak the truth, guess what's going to happen? The world will reward me with little trinkets and sell my soul for a pot of porridge, right? For a little bit of crumbs, like the millions and billions of other people, and in the process, what? I've done you no good, I've done God no good, and I've done myself no good in the long run. I'm not going to do that. Mathew 13, chapter 13. Now, we've been reading about what Jesus and Matthew, it's him preparing the apostles. His 12 apostles and disciples for their great mission, their work, which is to serve him and spread the gospel and go and as fishers of men to find the wheat from the tare, the elect. Where? Not throughout the whole damn world, but in Israel. He also said that he would not cover all of Israel. They would not cover all of Israel when he would return in his second coming. This is the fact. It's not my private interpretation. Every single translation says that. So that's chapter 10, 23. Now we're getting to chapter 13. The same day went Jesus out of the house and sat by the seaside. A great multitude were gathered together unto him, so that he went into the ship and sat, and the whole multitude stood on the shore. And he spake many things unto them in parables, saying, Behold, a sower went forth to sow. And when he sowed, some seed fell by the wayside, and the fowl came and devoured them up. Now he's talking to these people. He's talking to them. He's talking to them in a parable, okay? It's not just to us. No, in fact, it's not even to us at all in 2022, or in 122 AD, or in 522 AD, or 1022 AD. He's talking specifically to the people in front of him, on that shore there, right? The whole multitude, right? Let's try not to take ourselves out of it. Let's be honest in our reading, because it's really easy. It's real easy to fall into that trap of putting yourself in this. He spake many things unto them in parables, saying, Behold, a sower went forth to sow. When he sowed, some seed fell by the wayside. The fowls came and devoured them up. And some fell upon stony place, and where they had not much earth, and forthwith, and they sprang up, and because they had no deepness of earth, and when the sun was up, they were scorched, and because they had no root, they withered away. And some fell among thorns, and the thorns sprang up and choked them. But others fell on good ground and brought forth fruit, some 100-fold, some 60-fold, some 30-fold. Who has ears to hear, let him hear. Who's the sower? Jesus. Right? Who were those? He's talking about. We're talking about the seeds and the different. Those who bring forth, and he wasn't saying like 1,000,000 or 1,000 or a church of this, that, a mega church and all that. He was talking about his disciples and those who chose to follow him in that crowd. Anybody who was willing to follow him. That those you bring forth fruit. In other words, some of the elect would be found, and they would join the congregation, the church, the assembly. Some assemblies that we know about, and a few more, right? Throughout Asia and around Judea and Jerusalem and parts of the Roman Empire. But he wasn't like saying extravagant numbers. He said, you might get some 100-fold, some 60-fold, some 30-fold. Who has ears, let him hear. Who has ears to hear, let him hear. So the disciples came and said to him, Why speakest thou unto them in parables? And he answered and said unto them, Because it is given unto you to know the mysteries of the kingdom of heaven, but to them it is not given. For whosoever hath, to him shall be given, and he shall have more abundance. But whosoever hath not, from him it shall be taken away, even that he hath. Therefore speak I to them in parables, because they seeing see not, hearing they hear not, neither do they understand. And in them is fulfilled the prophecy of Isaiah, which saith, By hearing ye shall hear, and shall not understand, seeing ye shall see, and not perceive. For this people's heart is wax gross, their ears are dull of hearing, and their eyes they have closed, lest at any time they should see with their eyes, and hear with their ears, and should understand with their heart, and should be converted, and I should heal them. But blessed are your eyes, for they see, and your ears, for they hear. Who's he speaking to? His apostles, not to you and I. For verily I say unto you, that many prophets and righteous men have desired to see those things which ye see, and have not seen them, and to hear those things which ye hear, and have not heard them. Now who are these prophets and righteous men? They're all prophets and righteous men of Israel. Had nothing else to do with any other group of people. That is the brutal reality of things. Hear ye therefore the parable of the sower. When any one heareth the word of the kingdom, and understandeth it not, then cometh the wicked one, and carrieth away that which was sown in his heart. And this is he which received the seed by the wayside. But he that received the seed in stony places, the same is he that heareth the word, and in joy receiveth it, yet hath he not root in himself, but endureth for a while. For when tribulation or persecution arises because of the word, by and by he is offended. As he describes 99.9% of all Christians right there. He also that receives seed among the thorns is he that heareth the word, and the care of this world, and the deceitfulness of riches, and choke the word, and he becometh unfruitful. But he that receiveth the seed into the good ground is he that heareth the word, understandeth it, and which also beareth fruit, and bringeth forth some 100-fold, some 60-fold, and some 30-fold. Now here's the irony of ironies. It seems to our job, to those who know what the Bible really says and what Jesus said then, what the Bible really is saying, the collection of the books, is to help as many people come out of false Christianity, false Judaism, false religion, false Hindu, Mohammedanism. Come out of her, my people, and have a personal relationship with God for once. For most of you, you're not going to be able to handle it. I can barely handle it. But there's some that are meant to be even more fruitful than a guy like me. And there's going to be other guys that are going to be, 100 times more fruitful than me. But someone, and many of us have to stand in the gap for now, until the other ones with more talent and more abilities and more and enough courage to start speaking the truth. Because bad things are coming around. The bad things on the horizon, that's for sure. And it's not just the destruction of Abrahamic religions. They want to get rid of 90% of this humanity. And they know that through what they're going to plan on doing, most people, when they see that Jesus didn't show up, it's going to crush their faith because they had wrong. Their faith was not properly in line with God. It's a son of a gun thing. Another parable put he forth unto them, saying, The kingdom of heaven is likened unto a man which soweth good seed in his field. But while men slept, his enemy came and sowed tares among the wheat, and it went his way. But when the blade was sprung up and brought forth fruit, then appeared the tares also. So the servants of the householder came and said unto him, Sir, didst not thou sow good seed in thy field? From whence then have its tares? And he said unto them, An enemy hath done this. The servant said unto him, Wilt thou then that we go and gather them up? But he said, Nay, lest while he gather up the tares, he root up also the wheat with them. Let both grow together until the harvest. The harvest is the end of that generation. We know we're supposed to be judged. That generation of vipers. That oh God. Not ours. Who he's speaking to right now, the reason why he showed up. Those people. And in time of the harvest, I will say to the reapers, Gather ye together the first of the tares, and bind them in bundles to burn them, where in the lake of fire, but gather the wheat into my barn. What? New Jerusalem, a spiritual New Jerusalem, the kingdom. Another parable put he forth unto them, saying, The kingdom of heaven is like to a grain of mustard seed, which a man took and sowed in his field, which indeed is the least of all seeds, but when it is grown, it is the greatest among herbs, and becomes a tree, so that the birds of the air come and lodge in the branches thereof. And a parable spake he unto them, The kingdom of heaven is like unto leaven, which a woman took and hid in 3 measures of meal, till the whole was leavened. All these things spake Jesus unto the multitude in parables, and without parables spake he not unto them, that it might be fulfilled which was spoken once again by the prophet, saying, I will open my mouth in parables. I will utter things which have been kept secret from the foundation of the world. Then Jesus sent the multitude away, and went into the house, and his disciples came unto him, saying, Declare unto us the parable of the tares of the field. He answered, and that's a good place to stop. We'll take a little break. We get back, we'll talk about the parable of the tares. Get into this tares thing, and gosh, did I get a chastening. Okay, well, I really would like to help with getting a wheelchair, and I'm dead serious about a wheelchair, and since I'm not able to raise the money, if there's some way, maybe somebody could get me even a used one, but something that actually I can use outdoors with my son. This might be our last summer, whatever. It could be longer than that, who knows. I really do need that help. Once again, you can email me at maherschelart@yahoo.com, and we'll figure out how we get it to me. Somebody's got to know somebody that has an athletic wheelchair that they can get rid of, that they don't need, because I sure could use it. Now, outside of that, God also reminded me a few things about myself and the time that we're in. We are in a transitional period. An age from the Piscean age to the Aquarian age, an age in which it is true. It's true that the Abrahamic religions are about to be dismantled, along with a lot of other false religions, and a brighter age. But in order to be done properly, Those who have the desire to know the real truth about Jesus need to hear it. And it was revealed to me, and I said, this is the way that it had to be, Mike. First, it had to be 500 years ago, and the printing press, and then 500 years of a gazillion Bibles been printed out. All right? In which then there had to be fragmented the Christianity and Judeo-Christianity, Judaism and Mohammedanism to 1,000 points of light. Why? So people could start thinking more independently. And it took then the internet of all things, to allow individuals like myself and others like me, who know this truth, who are willing to speak the truth of the Great Perusia, and that it happened it already happened in 66 A.D. Everything was finished in 70 A.D. And my time, my purpose, and why I'm here, is to plant the seeds so more skilled sowers may sow. Because people are going to have to walk from false Judeo-Christianity and false Christianity and walk with God, and not get ensnared into more false religion, and have a real relationship with God, the Father. This is the truth. And so He's put me in this position and forced me in this position because He knows me. Everyone knows me. Who knows me, who would bother to know me, as I'd rather do anything but this. I know that sounds crazy, and it sounds, oh my gosh, how could you say that? I want to have a life like everybody else. The flesh part of me, the man, the meat suit, wants to have a life like everyone else. I want to spend my time making love to a beautiful woman and doing things and having a life. But I also know that's what I was chosen for. And I was chosen here along with thousands of others to wake those who truly have desire to know who Jesus is up. To truly want to understand what the Bible of 66 books was always all about. Wake you up and get you out of our version, and 2022's version of Mystery Babylon. Now, Mystery Babylon in the Bible was Jerusalem, was Israel. But today we have a new one. It's a different one. And with this transitioning of ages, and either we're all going to get sucked up in this spiritualism and all these lies and all these things anchored on, Alice Bailey's work and the externalization of hierarchy and on it goes, or we're going to get wrapped up in all the grand deceptions that are out there. We got to be anchored on the truth. Part of the truth is that Jesus showed up. He fulfilled all things. His second coming did happen in 66 A.D. And which the Mosaic age ended, and even the real Christian age ended in 70 A.D. Since that time, there's been nothing but a lie. A lie. But in order for the truth to come out, in order for people to know the truth, God knew that most people never want to know the truth. They never wanted to know the truth in His day, when Jesus was walking on the earth, and they don't want to know the truth when Noah was walking the earth, and they're not going to want to know the truth today. It's just the way it is. But God has His elect, and for some reason He chose a guy like me to share the truth. Maybe it's because He's crushed me to the point that I have literally nothing else to lose, except my soul at this point for not telling you the truth. Oh, God. All right. He says that to sow the good seed. So let's go with the 36 of chapter 13. And then Jesus sent the multitude away and went into the house, and his disciples came unto him, saying, Declare unto us the parable of the tare of the fields. And he answered and said unto them, He that soweth the good seed is the Son of Man. That's Jesus. The field is the world. What world? The land, the world of Israel. The good seed are the children of the kingdom, but the tares are the children of the wicked one. Who's the wicked one? Satan. Synagogue of Satan. The enemy that sowed them is the devil, right? The harvest is the end of the world or the age, or the world of the Israeli age, the Jewish world, that world. The reapers are the angels, and they did do that. As therefore the tares are gathered and burned in the fire, that includes the lake of fire, so shall it be in the end of this world. What world? Not the whole world that you and I are thinking of. The Israeli, the Jewish world, their world. And it did. And in fact, not only did the tares get all gathered up and burned into the lake of fire, what happened to all of Israel in the next 40 years? All burnt to the freaking ground, pretty much. Just leveled from the Jewish rebellions, and then finished off by the rod of iron, the Roman Empire and its legions. The Son of Man shall send his angels, and they shall gather out of his kingdom all things that offend, and them which do iniquity, and shall cast them into the furnace of fire, and there shall be wailing and gnashing of teeth, because they'll realize how they rejected their Messiah and the truth. And shall cast them into the furnace of fire, and there shall be wailing and gnashing of teeth. Now, does this sound really loving to you? I was listening to this New Age guy. Oh, yeah, Jesus is all about lovey-dovey-dovey. Yeah, he loved his people, and he loved God. But believe me, this is the double-edged sword, and it was not good for an awful lot of people who rejected Jesus. And it ain't going to be all that good for a lot of people today or in the past 2,000 years who've lied about Jesus. Because this world could have been a much different place if men would have not lied about the truth of Jesus. But no, for their own personal gains, they had to lie about Jesus. Then shall the righteous shine forth as the sun in the kingdom of their Father. Who hath ear to hear, let him hear. And again, the kingdom of heaven is like unto a treasure that is hid in a field, and which when a man has found, he hideth, for joy thereof goeth and selleth all that he hath, and buyeth that field. And again, the kingdom of heaven is like unto a merchant man seeking goodly pearls, who, when he has found one pearl of great price, went and sold all that he had and bought it. Again, the kingdom of heaven is like unto a net. The net. Isn't it interesting? The end of that age, the end of the Mosaic age, and the beginning of the Piscean age, as you want to say. There was a net involved, wasn't there? What do we have today? 2,000 years later, a net. It's called the worldwide, the internet, or the World Wide Web. It's happening once again, folks, but in a different format and in different reasons. The world's not going to end. I hate to disappoint you. Those who want the world to end, they're going to try their damnedest to make it happen, but they, at the end, the only thing that's going to end is man's madness. Unfortunately, there are going to be billions of people who die from it, one way or the other. They try to make it clean with the poison injection, but it's going to go a different direction now. that was cast into the sea and gathered every kind, which, when it was full, they drew to shore, sat down and gathered the good into vessels, but cast the bad away. So shall it be in the end of the world of the Jews of Israel, end of the age of the Jews of Israel. That world, folks. And by the way, we had know this because Jesus says over and over again that he's coming back in their generation. You'll see. You just, now that you have it open, not only just Jesus say it, his apostles say it. And it says all the way from the beginning to the end of this, all of New Testament. And it's not Michael Adams' private interpretation. Far from it. And he drew to shore, and sat down, and gathered the good into vessels, but cast away the bad. So shall it be in the end of the Jewish world, the Jewish age, the Mosaic age, the Mosaic world. And the angels shall come forth and sever the wicked from among the just. And shall cast them into a furnace of fire, and they shall be wailing, gnashing of teeth. And she said unto them, Have ye understood all these things? And they say unto him, Yea, Lord. Then said he unto them, Therefore every scribe which is instructed unto the kingdom of heaven is like unto a man that is an householder, and bringeth forth out his treasure things new and old. That's a fascinating line. What does that mean, God? Therefore, every scribe which is instructed unto the kingdom of heaven is likened unto a man that is an householder, which bringeth forth out of his treasure things new and old. Bringeth new and old, the new age and the old age. We're in another transition phase in history of man, of the old and the new and old and new. And it came to pass that when Jesus had finished these parables, he departed thence. And when he was come into his own country, he taught them there in the synagogue, insomuch that they were astonished, and said, Whence hast this man this wisdom, these mighty works? Is not this the carpenter's son? Is not his mother called Mary? And his brethren James and Jose and Simon and Judas? And his sisters? And they are not all with us? Are they not all with us? Whence then hath this man all these things? And they were offended in him. But Jesus said unto them, A prophet is not without honor, save in his own country, in his own house, and his own siblings, for that matter. And all the people that call themselves Christians that are not, which is 99.9% of you folks. And he did not many mighty works there because of their unbelief. Chapter 14. At that time Herod and the Tetrarch heard of the fame of Jesus, and said unto his servants, This is John the Baptist. He is risen from the dead. Therefore mighty works do show forth themselves in him. For Herod had laid hold on John, and bound him, and put him in prison for Herodias' sake, his brother Philip's wife. For John said unto him, It is not lawful for thee to have her. And when he would have put him to death, he feared the multitude, because they counted him as a prophet. But when Herod's birthday was kept, the daughter of Herodias danced before them, and pleased Herod. Whereupon he promised with an oath to give her whatsoever she would ask. And she, being before the instructed of her mother, said, Give me her John the Baptist's head and a charger. Did I just skip something? Whereupon he promised with an oath that he would give her whatsoever she would ask. And she, being before instructing her mother, said, Give me here John the Baptist's head and a charger. And the king was sorry, nevertheless, for the oath's sake, them which sat with him at meat, he commanded it to be given her. And he sent and beheaded John in the prison, and his head was brought in a charger given to the damsel, and she brought it to her mother. And his disciples came and took up the body and buried it, and went up and told Jesus. And when Jesus heard of it, he departed thence by the ship into the desert place apart. And when the people had heard thereof, they followed him on foot out of the cities. And Jesus went forth and saw the great multitude, and was moved with compassion towards them, and he healed their sick. And when it was evening, his disciples came to him, saying, This is a desert place, the time is now past. Send the multitude away, that they may go into the villages and buy themselves victuals. But Jesus said unto them, They need not depart. Give ye them to eat. And they say unto him, We have here 5 loaves and 2 fishes. And he said, Bring them hither to me. And he commanded the multitude to sit down on the grass, and took the 5 loaves and the 2 fishes, and looked up to heaven, and blessed, and brake, and gave the loaves to his disciples, and the disciples to the multitude. And they did all eat, and were filled, and they took up the fragments that remained, 12 baskets full. And they that had eaten were about 5,000 men, besides women and children. Straightway Jesus constrained his disciples to get into a ship, and go before him unto the other side, while he sent the multitude away. And when he had sent the multitude away, he went up into the mountain apart to pray. And when the evening was come, he was there alone. Interesting how how could it not only be just him against the 5,000 men and women and children? At any time they could have just grabbed him, kept him. Nope. Don't tell me God was not walking with Jesus and God was not in that meat suit. How it works, I don't know. Nobody did you. You weren't there. But okay. And he was there alone, and but the ship was now in the midst of the sea, tossed with waves, for the wind was contrary. And in the 4th watch of the night, Jesus went unto them walking on the sea. And when the disciples saw him walking on the sea, they were troubled, saying, It is a spirit. And they cried out for fear. Straightway Jesus spake unto them, saying, Be of good cheer, it is I, be not afraid. Let's really think that through about it as a spirit. How did he actually do that? We don't know. But then he's God in the flesh. And Peter answered him and said, Lord, if it be thou, bid him come unto thee on the water. And he said, Come. And when Peter was come down out of the ship, he walked in on the water to go to Jesus. And when he saw the wind boisterous, he was afraid, and began to sink. He cried, saying, Lord, save me. And immediately Jesus stretched forth his hand, and caught him, and said unto him, O thou of little faith, wherefore didst thou doubt? And when they come into the ship, the wind ceased. Then they that were in the ship came and worshipped him, saying, Of a truth thou art the Son of God. And when they were gone over, they came into the land of the Gennesaret. When the men of that place had knowledge of him, they sent out into all the country round about, and brought unto him all that were diseased, and besought him that they might only touch the hem of his garment, and as many as touched were made perfectly whole. It's a good place to stop. Just keep pushing, there's nothing else to do.